parents are very strict. Where are you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?
Done.
Yo.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good. Hi. I'm in the back of my car. You're at home.
Yeah, you got a pretty mint view behind you.
Yeah, I don't know if I do that. I don't know if it helps to see it. But anyway, yeah. We're doing Hamish today, but you've got something to tell us first.
I do. Firstly, I wanted to say a big thank you to the New Zealand rollerblading community. My daughter, Isla, is into hip-hop dancing, and I don't know where she got it from because I'm a shithouse dancer, as you all know. But she's an incredible dancer, and so they've qualified for the World Champs, so trying to raise some money, and I auctioned off some Scott Bentley wheels that he signed. He also put a little inscription on the bottom of the can as a bit of a special treat for everyone. But yeah, it was incredible the amount of support that it got in a short time. So we've been able to raffle off $775 worth of tickets, which is definitely helping with the travel expenses. We've worked out at $17K to get her there and myself there to pay for everything. So that's definitely going to help. So I wanted to say thank you, and then thought I could bring it up on screen and we do a random kind of a random draw. It's very lo-fi, so apologies. So I'm just going to share my screen. Oh,
I don't think the winner's going to care how lo-fi it is if they get those wheels.
No, true. So sorry, that was something I prepared earlier for later. I'll hide this so no one can see that. So still a few people to pay, but you can kind of see everyone's bought three tickets in $25 lots. So I'll bring this up now, and then we will do just a real basic random number generator and see who won. So number 49.
Do they have a number on their ticket or no?
Nah. So Simon Heaps, an OG from Hamilton, has just won the Scott Bentley wheels using the random ticket generator. So well done, Simon. You still got to pay me, but you've got some wheels coming your way. And special thanks to good old Tim Van Weerd, who bought $250 worth of tickets. Definitely really helping me out there. So thank you. So I'll stop sharing and we're back.
Just out of interest, I wonder how many sets he's got left, Bentley.
I don't know if he's got any. Oh, he does have his can that he's converted into like a money box.
Yeah.
And then I think he bought a set of 4 wheels at the same time I did.
That's pretty big for him to give away his last set.
Oh no, that was my set.
Yeah, but to give them to you anyway, no?
Oh no. I bought them from a dude in Europe.
Oh, okay.
I bought
change the fact that Scott doesn't have any of his signature wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Or signature skates.
Yeah. Sweet. Oh, well, that's lucky for someone. I wonder if they'll just on-sell them or they'll ride them down to nothing in a few days.
Oh, I hope they don't ride them because they're pretty cool. It's pretty historic.
It's 4 wheels, yeah?
4 wheels plus the can.
Sweet.
So Scott signed the side of the can, so it'll be the only signed can in the world, probably.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Should we chuck Hamish in?
Yeah, Hamish. So it's another one, another old schooler, really old school, like goes way back. I guess I made the assumption that everyone knows Hamish, but probably a lot of people sort of won't. Some people won't.
Yeah, some people won't, yeah.
But he's been around for ages. And I guess like pretty abrasive sometimes, pretty sometimes obnoxious.
Yeah.
But brutally honest and like amazing skater.
And pretty genuine guy too when you get to the heart of it.
Yeah, he is, and like he's, as controversial as he's been, and the relationships that he's had with some people, like he's never really wavered. Like he's always just gone straight down the middle and stuck to who he is. So it's got to be admired.
Definitely.
And like I got mad respect for the guy. Like I used to look up to him. Still, there's aspects of his skating which we'll probably talk about that are like, he's just sort of a force to be reckoned with, really, as corny as that sounds.
Definitely.
Like he never kind of let up too much. So it's going to be cool to talk to him. But I also want to say, like, some of the questions, like it seems like some of the old school guys that we're interviewing, or the people that we're interviewing from a long time ago, the questions might seem a little bit more in depth compared to someone like, Slug or someone new school. But it's not because we don't, it's just because it's really easy for us to, I guess, ask those kind of questions to people from a long time ago. So there's no offense intended when it seems like we're doing a really in-depth interview with someone from back in the day. That's just the way it is. Plus, it's our show, so
we can do what we want.
Yeah. Okay, is he ready?
He is ready. He's been ready for about a month. I'll chuck him in. Here he is. Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. How are you, Joss? Long time
Good,
no
man.
see, my bro. It's the face I haven't seen in a while.
I think the last time I saw you was on that couch.
Yeah, fucking most likely, mate. Actually, yeah, it would have been, last time we were all together here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sweet.
long. Yeah. How are we? We good?
Good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah, what do you got?
I'm drinking the Parrot Dog by Birdseye at the moment. A nice little hazy IPA. So after the last 24 hours, I've sorted into one of these.
Fair enough.
Cool, man. Your number, what are we at now, Liam? Number 7, 8?
No, isn't Hamish number 6?
6? Something like that.
But
Yeah.
since we did 2 of Beans and did one on our own,
Yeah.
we are up to 8.
Cool. All right. So I guess we should start way back.
Way
back. Yeah. How far back, Hamish? When was it? What happened?
29th of the 9th of 1990 was the first day I ever strapped on a pair of rollerblades in Wellington on the waterfront there. So there used to be this little grey Bedford van that cheapskates down there used to have the roller rental skates. And that's where my journey began on my 10th birthday, on my 11th birthday.
Sweet.
So pretty much, yeah.
And that's just rollerblades. Like before that, did you play hockey or did you roller skate or?
No, I started skateboarding at the age of 5 and got quite heavily into skating ramp back then. I was quite lucky. We had the old snake pit down the bottom of in Wellington, where what is now the Cape Tin, and around the corner from my place in Mount Cook, a place called Arlington Apartments, there used to be a little mini ramp, which was in someone's backyard. So we used to skate that. And when I was skateboarding as well, when a good friend of mine, Scott, bless his soul, who's no longer alive anymore, me and him built a mini ramp just adjacent to his mum's place inside the Wellington Polytech. Back when they were developing a lot of it back in the 80s. We just used to steal a lot of their shit and made this little mini ramp that was kinked to buggery with coping and everything. And that's really where we started skating. So had my skateboard stolen. I didn't have it stolen. I left it at the place where we used to get paid because I used to have a paper run. And so left the skateboard there, went back, it wasn't there. And then about a year later, I saw roll-ups birthday and I was like, can I try this? And that was it. It sort of just spiked on from there.
So you just carried on the skateboarding on the ramps to blades, or
no?
What did you start doing?
No, so I started just skateboarding on rollerblading on ramps. Really didn't come about probably until 91ish. when we started going to the rec centre when it used to rain, and then realised there was a mini ramp there and started skating that and getting into that. And then it all sort of progressed from there with like stair riding. Saw Team Rollerblade, I think it might have been 92, maybe 91, 92. They actually came down to Wellington and did a demo on the waterfront down there with Chris Edwards and that, and doing the flips and the jumps and the dancing. So that's sort of what got me into jumping and stuff. I don't think Neem got the photo, but we used to actually have this little jump ramp that was about that big. And we used to just, on the waterfront, and we used to stank bread crates as high as we possibly could to see how high we could jump over them. And that's, and doing hill bombs. Hill bombing was a really big part of growing up and skating in Wellington as well. Like skating the terrace, things like the Rose Gardens, going up into Kandala and stuff like that, and hill bombing from there all the way down to town. So it was a huge thing. It wasn't just, it was more what we'd class as urban street skating was what we did back then before we got into grinds and really ramp skating. But my first competition was actually in Wellington at the Snake Pit. And it was they had a street course down the back and a mini ramp and a mini ramp there. And a guy, Brendan Moses, who, if any of you guys know the old history, he's one of the old vert dogs from back in the day. He was actually in the old City of Volcanoes. I actually got to meet him and learn skating through him as well, which helped me progress through my early stages of skating mini ramp and stuff.
Yeah. And like you mentioned City of Volcanoes, like everything was pretty fresh back then. Like I remember when I watched that video, seeing Brooke like just dancing around, and it was like no one was really, like you say, no one was really doing a lot of street stuff.
His rap was pretty infamous, eh?
Oh, so Brendan was the guy on the bass guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Brendan used to skate a lot of vert with Alan back in the day before Alan went overseas. So I never met Al. I didn't get to meet Alan until later on, and we'll get there later on down the track.
Alan Varno, huh?
Yeah. But Brendan was quite big in the rollerblading scene back in the real early 90s before we all got involved and actually, became where we are and what we were doing in the late 90s.
It might be worth connecting the dots for some people. So Alan Varno was one of the very first rollerblade pros.
Yeah, that's correct. One of the first ever rollerblade pros who was on the tour doing tours, and I think would have been, geez, I don't know when he left New Zealand. That's probably something that if you ever talk to Danny or Johnny, or especially Johnny, that he might be able to fill you in a little bit more on his dad's heritage with leaving New Zealand and that. But no, he was one of the first original rollerblade pros, especially vert skaters and stuff like that, who really put New Zealand on the map before the likes of Scotty and Brock and that.
It really does go back like a lot further than people realize, and to the point where there's people that like you've just been talking about, there's people that skaters these days won't even know.
Well, a lot of people don't realise that, Brock was really instrumental in starting Senate.
Yeah.
One of the first people to make lots of money off inline skating. And a lot of people don't realise that, but that's something that helping with you guys is going to be able to bring a lot of that out and let people understand about, especially New Zealand history, because even though we're quite an underground culture compared to Australia, especially, we had some really good talent come out of New Zealand. Some really good talent.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of almost originated here, I guess.
Oh well, the Misty Flip.
Yeah.
The McUgly technically is what it was called, and if I remember correctly, Stacey was one of the first. The Rotorua boys were one of the first people to do the trick, and and it progressed from there. And it was originally a vert trick. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's cool. And like, it's good. It's going to be great to talk to you because you're from that era. You kind of started there. And one of my questions to you also was going to be how you sort of fitted into that time. And like, there's people that I think of from back in the day, like Brooke, and obviously Tash and Scotty. They were kind of the early people that I met and knew. But how do you felt like you fitted in there amongst those people?
So I was legitimately the tag alonger, because so you had Ben Myers,
Yeah.
Brady and Sinclair, who were original. They with Scotty and that were quite very, very close, and I was sort of on the outside. I was more closer to Tash, because I knew Tash before Scotty and Tash got together when Tash was with another rollerblader called Danny Ross, who still lives in the States. But I grew up skating with them around Onehunga and stuff like that. And then when they got together, I was always, I was on the outside, which because of my nature and a lot of people, I used to open my mouth a little bit and I was always the annoying type. It put me there, but that was all right for me because I enjoyed sort of doing my own thing when it came to skating. I really tried not to follow what everybody else was doing. I sort of wanted to try and do things my own way. And that's why I think my skating sort of stood out a little bit to a lot of people, but also I did as well because I had a big mouth.
So going back a bit though, so you talk about skating in Wellington, and obviously hill bombs in Wellington would be fucking terrifying. So when did you relocate from Wellington?
So,
did you have a crew in Wellington before you relocated to Auckland?
Yes, sort of. Most of the crew I had in Wellington was just sort of my mates, and when I left, some of them dissipated. Like I had, do you remember Nick Giles?
I do remember Nick Giles, yeah.
Yeah, so Nick was another one of the Wellington rollerbladers, but he was my first nemesis, like my legit first nemesis. Everywhere I would go when I was rollerblading initially, he would be there and he would be a better skater. He was from Scots College, he had the TRS rollerblades back when we were all just running, cheap fucking knockoffs from cheapskates and stuff. But he was a really, really good skater and sort of helped progress. But I moved in '93 up to Auckland at first term of high school. So Mum was working for Smith and Coe's, and James Smith's. When James Smith's closed, she came up and worked for farmers up here, and that's when we moved up here. And that's pretty much where the skating journey really, really took off and began, because Wellington, there wasn't lots of skaters. Up in Auckland, there was a really, really good scene, and it really helped start progressing that skating, especially with meeting the likes of Danny and Tash and that. And that was early 90, that was early 93. So it was a really, really good progression from there. And people like Dave, you had people like Dave Porter, the Fowles brothers, Aaron and that, and then you had a really good vert scene up here as well, which was really good. So we didn't really have a lot of street skating back then. It was mainly minis and verts, and if you're skating street, it was downhills and jumping stairs.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Was predominantly vert skating back then, because there were a number of good verts in Auckland. I remember like there were 2 or 3. There was Onehunga. There was one over on the shore, wasn't there, as well?
Was that Stafford Road?
Yep, Stafford Park, which was the old cross ramp, which is no longer there. I think it was relocated somewhere. I'm not 100% sure, but there was that. There was multiple vert ramps in Auckland. There was at one stage there would have been 5 or 6 verts. Because you had Onehunga, Browns Bay, which is still there today, which is just an oversized mini ramp. That's vert. You had a couple out west. Onehunga, of course, and then there was the Lord Ellesmere vert, and then there was one other vert which was down near the bowl in Takanini, out the back there, which is the old kidney shaped bowl.
Sweet. And was Abbott's around then from a mini perspective?
Abbott's is one of the oldest mini ramps in Auckland, bro.
Wow, that's incredible.
Abbott's was originally built by there was a ramp crew that used to build all of those mini ramps and all those verts back in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's one of the originals. Same with Grey Lynn. Onehunga is one of the original ones as well. They were all designed and built by one group of people.
Sweet. That's so many memories and so many contests and so much cool stuff happened at Abbott's. Oh,
Abbott's, like we've all spent a lifetime at Abbott's. It's a great little mini ramp. But it's like that. We also spent a lifetime down in Hams, mate, at Old Rollerforce.
Yeah. Well, that's actually the first place I ever saw you skating, and I remember because I think there was a time when Todd Eckersley was there, you were there, Stacey and Brady might have been there as well, And I remember watching you air out of the spine ramp over the handrail into the rink. And I was like, man, these guys are good. This is like scary. And I remember thinking like there was kind of between all of those people that were there were like all these kind of really good skaters who were like kind of badasses in their own way. And you kind of looked up to them and you're like, man, I like, not only is it like a really high level of skating that you think, will I ever be able to be that good? But you also kind of wanted to fit in with them and like, those were the cool guys.
I was always sort of still looked up, wasn't so cool, you know, especially with Ben and that, because I was always the outside of that, because Ben was, so if we go back to pre-Roller Force days when they used to have the rink in Rotorua, the old skate or whatever Chris Boy's rink was, they used to have the vert ramp there, and we used to go down.
That was the one that had the mini that flowed up to the back of the vert, like a water.
Yeah. Oh my god, mate! Some of the weekends, some of the weekends we had at that place, bro, as kids under the age. Like one weekend we got picked up by Dave Porter at Ben Myers' parents' place, which me and Ben used to literally live not too far away from, like literally a stone's throw. He was on Valley Road. I was literally 100 meters up the road from him, just off the side street. And literally we got picked up at Dave Porter's place. Our parents dropped us off. I mean, at Ben's place, parents dropped us off, and he had a truck with a flatbed on it, mate. And I kid you not, he had built a fucking canopy on the back with a tarp over it. And that was us. We all loaded into the back of that. There was probably 15, 16 of us, and fucked off to the rink for a party. Or slept out the back of the rink. Yeah, oh mate, like, because see, you like, there's a whole nother group of skaters like from Hillsborough that, you know, we should bring up as well, and the likes of old Chris Hilton, Jamie Mannion, and that crew there as well, because they were around back then, and they played a huge part in my skating, because we used to skate Linfield Bowl religiously.
Yeah,
that's actually what taught me to skate, to skate transition, so skating that shit heap.
that is certainly an interesting transition.
I love it. If I could still skate it now, I'd go there. I probably can, but I just don't want to hurt myself, mate.
My first interaction with you was really different, because I skated vert and just vert only. I didn't skate anything else, and I live around the corner from the Waterworld vert ramp in Hamilton, so I'd just pay my $1 and buy my $5 worth of ham and chicken luncheon for lunch and just stay there all day. And I just remember you guys coming down as a crew, and I think you were with Bones and stuff, and you came down, and you were actually the only one that would communicate with me. So you were like really supportive. You came over, you talked to me about the gear I was riding, and basically you just really were super, super helpful. And straight away, like, I was amazed at how kind and nice you were at that moment, and how inclusive you were, which I thought was pretty cool as a first meeting.
I always try to help people as much as I possibly can, even today. A lot of people took it as being arrogant. Some people took it a different way. I always try to help out as best as possible, you know what I mean? You know, and it was a respect thing with a lot of people, you know, you give me respect, I give you respect back. But I always enjoyed hanging out with you guys back then. Hamilton was a home away from home for us. You know, Mum used to bring us down all the time, drop us off at Emma's place, spend at Emma's mum's house, and just hang out there. You know what I mean? It was great. You know, and it was always a downhill skate to the rink. It wasn't too far. It was, you know, Hamilton, you know, literally, if I wasn't skating in Auckland, we'd be down there skating with you guys, especially when Roller Force was around, because it was a really good place for us all.
Yeah, it was. And we've talked about that heaps in previous interviews, about how it was like the Napier rink. Roller Force was pretty formative for like a lot of people in the 90s. And like you even, Hamish, you know, like you singing the merits of it. So was there a specific person or someone that you skated with that you looked up to back then more than anyone else?
Scotty, even though he's a fucking asshole. Scotty, I love you, buddy. But, you know, I'll tell it to your face. But yeah, he's one of my closest friends in skating out of everybody still to this day. I've got a lot of time from. Later on in life, fucking funnily enough, Tim and Danny, you know. But back then, really was Scotty. B Love.
Yeah.
Brandon Love Harden. And also Chad Grout, bro, and Mo Sanders. Those guys really tried, like, helped me out when I was in the States, when I was over there, and actually, you know, still to this day are in contact with them. Like heavy Mo and Chad were my first ever, like, technically pro wheel sponsor in the States when I was over there for wheels, and they looked after me for a while, and still looked after me when I came back to New Zealand for a little bit as well, which was good.
So is it jumping ahead too far to talk about that now, like how your whole entry to the States or your departure from New Zealand, maybe more importantly, started to happen?
Oh, you know, we can go back because it's just a whole other. That's a whole other. I was lucky to get the whole States thing was a fluke, to be honest.
Well, do you want to get into that then?
Yeah, well, so
explain
that would have been Nationals, Tirapa, the first Nationals in Hamilton. That's Roller Force in Tirapa.
That was the kind of Senate one, where they did the big Senate write up, and
and that was 94, 95, I think it was, and so we had the pro section, which was, I came third. I think Stacey or Aaron Fowles or Stacey Fraser came first. Brady came second. I came third, and it was whoever won actually got to go to X Games, and they both knocked it down. I fucking got offered it, and
crazy.
I just done a whole heap of advert work. So I've done an advert. I don't know. I can't remember if it was an advert for Gatorade that I'd done, or if it was the one that we did for Lifesavers. But one of the two, they paid really well. Like back in the 90s, we got paid $2,500 to just play roller hockey on Key Street. They closed the whole of Key Street out, wet the fucking ground, and we had to play hockey on a wet ground, and then go and drink a shitload of fucking Gatorade. And then me and Sinclair pissed for the rest of the afternoon because we drank that much Gatorade. We got paid an extra $1,000 for that. But anyway, so that literally paid for my trip over there. And
how old were you, Hamish, when you
15?
won? So you're 15. You won. Well,
No,
effectively, you came third, but you got the opportunity to go and compete in X Games. Did they pay for a ticket, or did you have to raise?
No, I had to pay. I had to pay my own way. So that's where luckily enough, I had the money to go. And that's pretty much was like, Mum, can I go? And she was like, yep, you can go. And packed my fucking bags and went by myself.
So 15, traveling across to the other side of the world, don't know anyone.
No.
And where did you land first?
Oh shit! So I landed in LA and had to go from LA fucking international and transfer over to domestic, and then fly to New York.
Far out.
And then so I can't remember who set it up, but I was picked up by a chick. I can't remember her name, and then I was dropped off at the fucking FR fucking headquarters.
Shit.
Yeah. And you know what the first thing that happened to me is I walk in the fucking door and they're like, "Here's a pen, bro. Go draw on him over there, mate." I'll rock up and fucking draw on someone, and little do I know it's fucking Manuel, mate. Hilarious.
Weird.
So
was he asleep or something?
He was fucking passed out, mate. So, you know, we got up, had some, like, it was probably 10 o'clock at night. So got up, went for a bit of a walk, showing around the night, and didn't go too far because I was so young. I think, who was there? I don't know. I think Dayton might have been there. Cooper Smith. And might have, I can't remember who else is actually at the apartment. And then we all got together in the morning in New York, and we all drove up with two minivans and drove up to Rhode Island. And I think we had Ryan Jacklow and Dayton Cooper Smith, Who's the other fucking FR boy that was with them back in the day?
Like Dave Ortega or something.
Yeah, Ortega, me, and one or two others in the minivan driving up, and we were just drunk and smoked weed the whole way up there. Rock stars. And that was pretty much my first meet of everybody in the States. Was I get over there and all these people that we've been seeing in the Hoax videos and shit like that, I'm literally sitting in a van driving up there. And I'm quite lucky. I don't really get starstruck.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. Because I knew I was a decent skater and I knew I could skate well, but ego aside, it's just the only time I've ever been starstruck is when I actually met Tom Fry and Chris Edwards.
Huh.
And I got into trouble as well.
So
explain what happened.
Well, there's a whole story. I actually sent Liam a picture. So
oh shit! I hope I got the picture then.
the one, yeah, no. Well, I'll carry on. So when we got there, we got to the X Games, and so we all were staying at a female dormitory, and you had one floor had rollerbladers on it, one floor had BMXs on it, and one floor had skateboarders on it. Skateboarders and BMXs got raided the first 2 nights by the police because a whole bunch of them had contraband, i.e., drugs. We didn't necessarily get into trouble by the police. We got into trouble because a lot of shit went down by us because we were just fucking rock stars. We were such a young sport and put in a position where we're the limelight. We're getting broadcasted to over 100 million people. We had 30,000 people inside this little area watching us skate and shit like that. It was ridiculous. Was it Scotty and Tom Fry, or I can't remember who it was, but I know Scotty was involved. Stole one of the golf carts, tried to take it off the dirt jump.
Just imagining it's a Mazda 33 in red.
Oh, we legitimately we actually had, within the first 2 or 3 nights of us being there, we had the head of ESPN come and sit down with all of the rollerbladers and say, if you guys don't really, you're not out up on the roof, you're not out, you guys can't do what you're doing, rah.
Just
and
cool it.
Scotty comes walking past the room on the rooftop drinking alcohol as we're being told off. So yeah, we, like we were,
I wonder if he remembers that.
He would. We're getting lit into liquor, into full blown parties, mate. At bars when we're 15, 16 years of age. Doing shit we wouldn't do, hanging out with people like Sean Thompson and that Thomas from Scribe. So it was really interesting, But that night that I got into trouble, Chris Edwards, we're all at this place. It's called Senor Frogs was the place that we're at, and a few people, and we were all pretty drunk. And I was like, back. I was starstruck. I was like, shit, look, because he was quite a Christian, and he was getting quite messy. And I had old, not Chris Mitchell. Who's the other Chris? He was on the rollerblade team.
Oh, he skated for Realm, and he owned Fiction Clothing.
Yes.
Oh,
He pulled me aside and had words with me as a 15-year-old, saying, pull your head in, rah. So yeah, and I managed to, and that was the start of the trip.
So what was the skating like?
The skating was good. Yeah, got to do a lot of skating. The course itself at X Games was pretty fucking rank. They decided to put sand in the paint. So that whole street course that you saw, it was actually raised off the ground by a meter, and they actually had 2 individual vert ramps set up, and identical vert ramps. And what actually happened was they painted and sanded the surface of the street course, and then they painted and sanded one of the vert ramps for the BMXs. And that didn't go down too well with the BMXs.
Makes for a nice crash.
Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. So they ended up using just the one vert ramp for everything, dirt jump behind there. And it was in the middle of a fucking a fort, one of the oldest forts in North America.
Huh.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. But no, the skating was pretty cool there. It was more of a party than anything for me as a child.
But you skated both, eh? You skated both street and vert?
Yeah, skated street and vert. Came 18th in vert and 15th in street.
Which is actually no mean feat, because it was a pretty stacked field of people.
Yeah. So I came, Brooke dubbed it the 300 Club, because we all got paid $300 cash, a $300 check for coming in the the last five, the top five, like that. Yeah. So it was, so we made money off the comp, and then it just carried on from there. I actually got stuck. I missed my flight out of Rhode Island back to the state, back to California, and I didn't really have anywhere to stay in California. I was sort of like fucking stuck, and I missed my flight, and I got stuck. So
I think, I actually remember Bentley telling me about this.
Yeah. So this is like, God bless Bentley. So Bentley, the guy that Bentley used to the house, like people remember Spawn Ranch.
Yeah.
So the guy who owned Spawn Ranch was a guy called Aaron Spawn, and he was the ramp builder back then. He's probably one of the best park builders in the States at the moment. And he did all of the NIS comps, ASA comps, and all of the ramps for all of those things. So I got hooked up with Aaron, and Scotty got me a job working for Aaron on the ramps, going from there across this, we went from there, and the next stop was Chicago, which was NSGA, 1995 National Sporting Goods Association trade show, and ASA Chicago, which was the first stop.
That was the first ASA, eh?
Yep, that's correct. And it was a heat wave.
That was the one with the big like semi truck, and it was set up like two ramps going up the back like a wall ride, eh?
Yep. That's the one, and that's
so this is all just an addition to your trip. You weren't even supposed to be here. You're kind of overstaying.
I was there for. I had a 3-month visa.
Right.
So I was there for 3 months. So went there, did that comp, and that's when I got to meet up with Heavy. And that's when I was hooked up on Heavy, and sort of got an insight into the K2 side of things. Then carried on just doing the comp. Apparently, I didn't stay for the prize giving, but Brooke told me I came third in the street course on the first stop. I didn't skate vert because it was 111 degrees Fahrenheit over there. It was the hottest. Like, we would literally have a run on the vert ramp, roll off the vert ramp, and then just go straight into the NSGA fucking entranceway and just go straight into aircon areas just to cool down. You remember the name Ivana Gigliago? One of the he skated in nothing but a sock on the vert. Nothing but a sock, and didn't fall, thankfully. So then and that's when they had the Hoax 2 premiere. And that was a very, very, very interesting night as well.
That would have been massive.
It was a proper premiere and a proper theatre, bro. And that we all got wheels and stuff like that to go to it. And it was cool. And then the after party afterwards was pretty good. Let's just say I got woken up by no, it wasn't TJ. But anyway, one of the old boys got woken up on the fucking parking lot of a hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning. Come to bed on the hot asphalt just to sleep. Apparently, I just climbed out of the van and fucking went to sleep on the asphalt. So yeah, then we went from there over to Santa Rosa for Camp Rollerblade, and then I did we did 2 weeks there for Camp Rollerblade. And that's where the birth of the backslide came from. So a lot of people don't know that one of the first people to ever actually perfect the backslide was B-Love. And yeah, it was on there that had this little flat box there. And he was just doing like royales and then trying to get the foot up, and then eventually got the backslide along the whole flat rail and down. And it was like a pretty big moment, especially for our history.
Yeah.
And that's when me and when I'm actually no, so I need to go back. So funny enough, when I was going go back to X Games for a bit because there's a couple of funny stories there. I was actually roomed, because this will lead to the other stories. I got roomed with one of the OGs, Chris Hines. And my God, mate. Bless that fellow's soul, mate. Fucking white trash to the days.
Something in common then.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Anyway, he we got into a lot of trouble, me and him. But I met him, and then when we hooked up in back in Santa Rosa for Camp Rollerblade, me and him ended up being, every year they take a camp photo, and normally they have Chris Edwards because he's there and stuff like that, but I think he was overseas or something, doing something else, and it was me and him were the main people doing the vert ramp photos with everybody sitting around. We were the ones skating on the vert. So that was really, really cool. Got we were there for Jill Schultz, so her dad is Charles Schultz, the creator of Snoopy, and they used to have it next door to the skating rink and stuff like that. And it was very interesting. Got to hang out with people like Pat Parnell, a lot of the OG rollerbladers, and then went from there. Met this Asian guy who was working in cahoots with a company called Stealth. They were a bearing company out of San Jose back in the 90s, and they were coming up with a rollerblading bearing that they wanted to break into the rollerblade market. And they actually had one of the best bearings on the market back in those days. One of the first removable plastic shields that you could clean properly, on par with a bone Swiss bearing. And we ended up hooking up with them, and they ended up sponsoring us and paying for a lot of our stuff for me and him in the States from going there forward. But ended up doing that, and then ended up in San Jose designing grind plates for them at their home base. So we literally just ripped off the 50-50 grind plate and just adjusted the edges a little bit to make it look a little different. And there was the grind plate, same metal, same everything, just carried on. And that was good. And then we ended up from there, went from Santa Rosa to San Francisco for NIS, the San Fran national stop for NIS, and was entered in street and vert, and cracked my tailbone on the street course. So I didn't end up, I qualified in the top 5, cracked my tailbone, didn't want to skate the street comp, because the old death rails that they used to have with that box, they were nasty. There's video footage of me on the NIS promo for that stop of me cracking my fucking nuts on the rail.
Oh, is that the one where you had clips and damaged goods? We did that kind of reverse style 540 on the vert?
That was Venice. And that's how I got into Venice, was being there. So I
So was Venice the final stop for the whole NIS tour?
Yeah, it was the final stop for the finals. So what would happen is you'd have all of the competitors from all the different stops, the top 2 so first and second for vert, first and second for street, they'd all come down and they'd meet, and then you'd have a couple of wild cards. And I was lucky enough to get the wild card for San Francisco, because it was a wild card stop. So I got it for vert, and came third. There was Tom Fry, fucking Chris Hines, and myself in the top 3. So Tom came first, Hines, then myself, and that's how. And then I ended up moving down to Orange County and staying with Chris Hines for the last 6 weeks, or 2 months of my stay there.
Third place on a wild card's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, so that was good. And then we did with Stealth bearings, because they had a stall at most of the rest of the stops throughout California, like Huntington Beach, Santa Monica, and all of that. I just went to the stops, and I didn't really compete. I didn't need to. I already had my wild card, but skated the courses and stuff like that, and just made the most of it and had fun while I was there with all the competitors. And then went to the NIS finals. And the NIS finals was really interesting. It was, came 6th, and it was really weird because they used to do pair offs. So, they would do the top 10 and then they'd pair off, and then it would be like a tier system down. So you'd skate when you heat, and skate again, skate again, skate again, skate again.
You'd skate against the person and have to beat them to move up, skate against it.
And that was fucking
Was that the SSR one?
yeah, that's the SSR one.
And Eric Burke skated vert too, I think. Then.
Yeah, so I came sixth. I lost to, fucking lose to Carlos Cole. I think it was Carlos. Yeah, Carlos Cole. But Ato, I think it was the one, the eldest of the Japanese boys was also competing there.
Yeah. And so
the Yasutokos.
You talked a little bit about some of the hookups you had while you were over there. So you got sponsored by Stealth and then Heavy.
Yeah.
Did you get paid by those guys at all? And was there anyone else?
Stealth I got paid for. So they gave me a base salary. They paid all my accommodation, all my travel and everything while I was over there, which was really, really good. So like they even, like for having a 15-year-old, these guys really, really looked after me. So when I went to work for them in San Jose for like a week, literally they flew me from Orange County up to there to do the work, paid me also for the work, and then flew me back down and carried on paying me for all of the, just going to the tour stops and everything like that. I'd get a couple of $100 for turning up, got adverts and magazines with them and got paid for the adverts and stuff. So I got looked after pretty well by them. They were pretty much my main money source while I was over there. Plus mum.
That's fortunate, eh? You must look back on it and just kind of think, what a like incredible, like, not stroke of luck, because you obviously earned it, but for that one win in New Zealand to turn into all of that.
Well, it wasn't even a win. It wasn't even a win that I got, mate. I won my age.
True.
I won. Don't get me wrong. I cleaned my age group up. I fucking like, and this is funny for that comp. Nick Giles was there, and Nick Giles walked up to me and he said, "I'm gonna fucking beat you, mate." And I just fucking laughed at him, mate, and just smoked his ass. Because I was supposed to be, if I was at the year before, it would have been probably a little bit different of a story that year, because I missed out on the nationals before because I broke my ankle.
Was that the one in Paraparan?
Yeah, I'd learnt McTwists, and before the comp, I'd fucking broke my ankle. I was one of the first Kiwis to actually learn a McTwist on inline skates properly, and broke my on Stafford of all ramps. Popped out. It was filming for a TV series and broke my ankle, and Ben Myers had to take my place.
Flat bottom.
Yeah, flat bottom ankle breaker, bro. Old TRS, fucking done up way too tight. Now, hey guys, can I have 2 seconds? I really need to go to the bathroom. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So,
It's actually pretty impressive. There's a whole lot more history than what I realised just in this brief conversation so far. Eh?
Yeah, I've heard quite a lot of it from Slothy, but yeah, to hear it from someone that was actually there and like the details about how it went down, like that's kind of what I meant. Like it's kind of a fairy tale story, like
Definitely.
in a way. That doesn't like who else does that happen to?
Yeah. And who else can come third in a comp? 2 dudes turn down an opportunity to go to America and he goes.
Yeah, and then for all of those other things to happen is like, yeah, it's not. I don't want to use the word lucky, but like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely very cool. Very different.
Yeah.
I do have another question leading on when he gets back from his America travels.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it sort of is.
Hey, Hamish, random question. Definitely not one I had planned, but having that amazing experience in the States over 3 months, even though it sounds like you overstayed it as well, and coming back to the New Zealand scene, how did it kind of feel? Because you'd almost reached the pinnacle or the top of the mountain, and then coming back into the New Zealand scene post that, how did it feel?
Yeah, I had a bit of a big head. You know, it's a whole ego thing when you come back and you do think. But the great thing about New Zealand skating is we were always ahead of what a lot of people thought we were. So coming back, it didn't take long for everybody to catch up, and it was really, really good, especially you guys down in Hamilton. You know, you guys really picked things up really, really fast, and you guys actually, whatever you guys saw, you guys tried to do, and that was really good, because that's, for me, it was more of a, yeah, I'd been over there, I'd done it and everything, but I always planned to go back, never did.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, was like, when you left the States, I guess you weren't consciously aware that was kind of it. You weren't going to be going back.
Well, no, it wasn't one of those conscious things of it, because I was lucky enough to have contact with Matt Lacrosse, and I think it's because Matt Lacrosse was the team manager for K2. And when I was at NIS, he actually hooked me up with the prototypes for the fatties.
Yeah.
So, and we were in conversations, and it was really hard. It probably would have worked a little bit better if I probably had my mum deal with the whole thing and try and work, you know, as a manager. But I think I just annoyed the living shit out of him in the States. So nothing eventuated when I came back to New Zealand, because I was probably a little bit too annoying, being that young and not being as onto it. Like, so
did you have to come back, or what happened?
You know, yeah, I had to come back. Yeah. I had to come back. I broke my arm over there, and I had to come back. And the whole plan was to always come back. I wasn't going to go over there and overstay and try and well, if I'd got a proper contract or something like that from somebody, yeah, I probably would have stayed. But that never occurred. So I came home.
Yeah.
But I never one for traveling.
Yeah. So when you were talking about all the competitions in the States, I'm sitting here thinking, like, you weren't, like, it was pretty heavily competition orientated there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you weren't really, you weren't really, if you come back to New Zealand, you're just going out skating, you're having sessions with your friends here. There's a big difference between what you were doing there and what you came back here to do, you know?
No, so we're doing a lot of that. So when I was with hanging out, living down in Orange County with not just with fucking Chris, but I spent a bit of time up in Monterey with Dayton Coopersmith and Zach Webby when I was going through from Chicago. So we did a lot of skating with those guys up in Monterey in California. So that's where I met Dawn Everett, and did a lot of skating with those guys, because they were part of a demo team up there. So I went and spent a bit of time with them, with their team manager, and did a little bit, spent some time there. And then from there, that's when we went I think we went to Santa Rosa after that. But yeah, did a lot of actual normal street skating as well while I was over there. So it wasn't just competition skating, thankfully. Got to see some cool places, got to teach some people to skate, which was good. And, you know, doing Camp Rollerblade gave us accreditation. So that helped when I came back to New Zealand as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear about it, because I sort of always lumped you in with you know, Sloppy and Brady and Stacey and that, but it's quite interesting to hear how independent you were of those guys and their trajectories, I guess. So that's cool.
Randomly too, when you went to the States, did they know you were going? Like, when you went to X Games, did they know you were there, or was it all of a sudden just a random meeting? Go, oh shit!
No. It wasn't just show up and go, hey, look, you can compete. Like, I was only there for vert.
No, but like seeing Scott and Tash and stuff, like,
no. I'm pretty sure they knew I was coming. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Because we didn't really have cell phones back in those days, so we couldn't just text someone and go, fuck, I'm on the plane. Like, look at me, I'm going.
Yeah.
It was more along the lines. I'm pretty sure Scotty and Tash knew I was going, because it was organised before they left. But it was cool because Alan Varno and his wife Donna really took me under their wing when I was over there, especially at X Games. They were like mum and dad, and they were really, really cool. You know, some out of it experiences there. You know what I mean? Like hanging out with Matt Solano. You know, got to know his sister really, really well. Got to meet his dad, spent a lot of time with them, and, you know, caught up with him quite a bit when they came to New Zealand and when I spent time in Aussie. So that was quite cool. He's actually another skater, you know, that I always looked up to. You know, there was a lot of skaters that I looked up to. You know, just don't tell them that, because I don't want their heads to get too big.
Pretty crazy that first X Games, how much Kiwi involvement there was, because Tash won women's.
Yep.
Scott came, was it second on street?
Yeah, I think it was second on street, and I might even come second or third in vert.
And then Brooke was the first to do a televised Royale.
Yeah, the shifty.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Royale.
Down the 15 stair handrail.
So pretty crazy for the first X Games that Little New Zealand had a bit of influence on that.
Oh mate, there was that's probably one of the greatest write-ups ever written in a box magazine. That's 4-page spread on the X Games, the old love story. There's some good, like there's that photo that I sent from you. There's a picture of old Chad Grout that his whole hand was taped up in a ball. We were walking back to the hotel, back to where we were staying, and there was this like old wrought iron fence that's probably like a couple of 100 years old, mate, that had those little spikes on the top of them, bro, and we were like wrenching them off, and one wouldn't come off, so we like broke this fucking bar off it and started fucking smacking it. Fucking cracked his finger, and actually the top part of the finger broke it through there and broke it across through there, and they wouldn't let him compete unless he taped it up because of fucking insurance reasons. And that was the same as like for me, I wasn't supposed to compete in street, but I think it was either Matt Mansell Roadhouse didn't show up, so there was a spot for me to enter, so I just entered it. I was able to enter and do the street, so I was quite fortunate enough. Come on, up you come.
So the wild cards, slotting in when other people weren't there. That's how you made it, eh? Just sneaking in.
Fucking pretty much, bro. Just sneaking
sidling
under the radar, mate.
All
You
good.
know, under the radar. Under the
So
radar.
when you came, so what year did you actually come back to New Zealand after all of that?
Oh no, I was only there for 3 months. So I left
It was 90. Oh yeah.
June. So it's July, August, September. I came back. I think I came back in like on the 11th of September. So not
1995. 95. Right.
Yeah, with one broken arm.
Yep. And welcome back to New Zealand. And what was it like for what you saw unfolding around that time? Were you like positive about it? Were you amping to like
skating in New Zealand? The great thing, because we had back then we had two prominent people really pushing the sport in New Zealand. You had Chris Poipoi, of course, and you had Shiloh. So you had these two guys really spearheading and you know, pushing the skating forward in New Zealand. You know, we wouldn't have had the likes of the Nationals at Oriental Markets and shit like that if it wasn't for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having that like after having X Games and having that Nationals that we had in Hamilton, and then separating Nationals away from hockey as well, which was really good at the same time. Because it allowed us to stand on our own 2 feet. Having those big X Game style comps really benefited us in a good way here in New Zealand, because you didn't really get, you know, they had those style comps in Australia, but they weren't on the level of what we built.
Yeah.
You know, we really did go above and beyond on the building. Go on, get up there then, you little shit. Sorry, cat.
And was there around that time when you came back to New Zealand, obviously skating was starting to pop off in this country, and there was lots of scenes all around the country, and I'm assuming there was lots of sponsorship opportunities for you when you came back?
Yeah, when I came, so I think I spent the majority of my time when I got back in New Zealand riding for Bauer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I remember you always having Bowers on for a while.
Bill, like, so Bill Over, who ran Bauer New Zealand, was actually one of my first ever sponsors. Like, when everyone was being sponsored by Cheapskates and those guys there, I was being sponsored by Bill and Hyper. So I was one of the first. There's a few others that were sponsored by Hyper, but I was one of the first ever main Bauer sponsored skaters in New Zealand, and that was even before I went overseas. And the road for Bauer, like, the main reason I had to leave Bauer is because they had no soles on them, so you couldn't grind. So I had to actually leave until they brought out a half decent skate that was worth it, and that's
Is that
when they
that
brought out.
green respect?
Yeah,
Is it the respect?
the respect, and that's
Yeah.
when I ended up riding the respect. So the hell, so they were a really good skate, you know, and that's I enjoy skating them, and then I really didn't need to do anything else from there because those skates were probably one of the best skates on the market back then. They actually really did a good job because they had the front side. And the front side was a great skate. Had just the stock F3 boot, but the sole plate had no gaps, no Royale groove, no nothing. So you couldn't actually do anything with them. So, but you know, there was a lot of sponsors like came back here. We did what? The Nationals 96, 97. And then then moved to Australia.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because you had heaps of clips in the Australia section of VG6.
Yeah.
Which was an awesome section, amazing video. And that was at the International Skate Series event.
Yeah, so that was when we went over the first time. So a whole group of us got together. I think there was quite a huge contingent of Kiwis that went over that year. So even Pat was there. He blew his knee trying to do a 720 over the box. Blew his knee, like fucking literally tore his knee open and couldn't skate anymore. He probably would have done really well. Probably would have beaten me on vert, to be honest. But no, we went over. That was in St Kilda. That was actually really interesting, and that's when I got to meet the guys from SMC, Combo, and fucking should know the old bastard's name. I was only fucking speaking to him the other day.
Was that Alan?
Yeah, Alan Bolden, bro. Yeah, I still get drunken phone calls from those two, mate.
So did you go to the ISS event, skate, then come back, then go and work for them?
Yeah. So what happened was this is Joss, you'll like this for a bit of a fluke. Went over there, met them, came back. We had nationals, and they came over with that nationals, and said to him, if you ever want anyone to come over and work, let me know. And a couple of weeks later, he rang me and offered me a job. And great trip, bad mistake.
Going to work for him?
No. Great working for them, great working for those guys and everything. But I ended up having a bit of an alcohol problem over there. I actually got accused of stealing money from the shop. They employed this guy to manage the shop, and I got accused of stealing money from the shop and got fired, and got a phone call 6 months later from Alan apologizing, saying it wasn't me, it was actually him, and it ripped him off fucking thousands of dollars.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's pretty much that was the downfall of everything. So that happened, and I ended up not being able to live. Like, I didn't have much money or anything. I had to move out to the middle of butt fuck nowhere, bro. And ended up living with an old fella who was a home brewer, and ended up with an alcohol problem. So I had to move back to New Zealand, mate. Came back to New Zealand 90, like on the January the 3rd of 98 with a pretty serious fucking drinking problem, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking Brady and his dad's homebrew fucking started that all off.
Far out.
So for those that don't know, I guess SMC was like the central skate shop in Melbourne, and pretty influential part of their scene, eh?
Bayside, and funny enough, Bayside Blades was around back then as well.
Oh, true.
Yeah, they were literally on the same street, on the opposite side of the road, 2 blocks down the road from them.
Because mine and Joss's first trip skating trip overseas, Joss, is we went to an ISS event in Melbourne at the Sale Yards, probably the year after.
Yeah.
And we walk into SMC, they found out we were Kiwis, and they told us to go to Hamish's tab next door at the bakery and eat whatever we wanted.
Yeah, because I was never coming back, mate.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I went in and closed that tab, which is weird enough. It's just like surprised that it's still open. But that calf, like I kid you not, that calf was a godsend, because I also got into dance parties over in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And because that was like in the heat, I can't say I got into dance parties because I was already going to electronic parties pre that because of old Josh Lang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me and Josh Lang used to go to dance parties like where going to dance parties from like as early as 94, 95. And that was all care of Gavin Green, who was the head security guy at fucking the power station at the time. And me and Josh were always underage, so he just let us in. I ended up working there for a couple of years. After I came back from Melbourne, I actually ended up working at the power station for a couple of years with Ricardo Vianello and Gav.
Josh Lang's basically Cave Crew, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it the sale yards in Melbourne?
Yeah.
I remember that park. That was quite a cool park.
You killed it there, Josh.
But
I remember the big Bio 5s you were doing were massive.
I think I remember they had like a big jump box.
Yeah, tranny to tranny, 3 sheets.
It was like it was a curve to curve
Yep.
with a big top on it. And me and Nian were like, I don't even think I could clear it. And then
You don't think you can, but it's that transition on that from that rolling on the far side, the actual park side. If that rolling, you can actually good couple of pumps and pushes, and if you can clear that easy, but it's better to go into it fakey.
I remember the time we were there when we couldn't even jump it. I remember rolling across the park, and Josh Clark came down and just 540'd right over it.
Yeah,
like top of tranny to top of tranny. Like it was amazing. It was so amazing.
Like Josh Clark, amazing skater. Amazing skating. You know, Dion's still one of my favorite skaters out of those guys. Still talk to Toby Heslop every now and then. You know, he's still skating.
That was bloody intimidating to be at that comp though, Josh? Like two young Kiwis.
Yeah,
over there with Emma Gray. That was definitely an experience.
My 18th birthday was over there, and we went. My 18th birthday was actually for the weekend of the Australian titles up in Canberra. And this is a story. This is a good story for you fellows. So we drove up in the SMC van. Started on a Friday lunchtime at one of the local pubs in Melbourne. And Alan and Combo take us all to a bar that has strippers for waitresses, bro. At 11 o'clock in the morning, mate. This is how it starts. We drove up and we stop in this little shithole town, in some hotel, and I go to bed because I'm pretty drunk at this stage. The rest of the boys managed to get kicked out of every pub in the town, almost get kicked out of the hotel. I get woken up. We're having, you know how you have in little boxes of Kellogg shit, like we were having rice bubbles with fucking Jack Daniels and cola, mate, for morning. Get up there, do the comp. Then the majority of the guys were staying just outside of Canberra, New South Wales, in this little town at a hostel which had a skate park next to it. And there was 2 bars underneath the hostel, and we were all at the bar. And next thing I remember is someone fucking, Hamish, bro, come over here. And we rock in, and someone's actually managed to get into the other bar. Let's just say I go to sleep. Okay. Next thing you know, the boys have decided to break into the skate park next door that's fully fenced off. Apparently the boys rat-shitted the gate off, took the gate off, and started skating the bowl. I got woken up by the police with a fucking flashlight being shined in my face, and we all got trespassed from the whole fucking New South Wales for 24 hours. We were told if we set foot in New South Wales in the next 24 hours, we're all going to be arrested, regardless of everything. So we all had to get back. We were lucky. We were staying in fucking Canberra at one of the hotels. But Jesus fucking Christ, mate. That was a bit of a loose weekend. It was I got a good 18th birthday present, to say the least.
That's good.
Yeah. What else have I got on my list of questions? So coming back to New Zealand, you kind of, that was still pre sort of the X years as well.
Yeah.
Especially the very first one in Hamilton down by the river.
Which I think I even won the vert comp at that one, didn't I?
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think I came third, and I know you.
Yeah, it was me, Pat then you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pat would have been pissed off. He would have been screwing. Yeah.
I do actually remember him being a little bit grumpy on that day, but I don't remember because I remember leaving early with Ben Myers to go to Auckland. But that was cool because that was such a little grassroots little event that kind of boomed into like a massive thing for the next sort of 3 years. 4
was it
years?
6?
Mate, that thing went through to
twice?
2000, you know.
Claudeland was 3 times, I think.
3 times. So
Three times.
it went Waterfront, Hillcrest.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hillcrest.
3
Claudelands.
3 times at fucking
At Claudelands.
Claudelands, and then there was a whole bunch in Wellington, and I think I only went to maybe 2 of the Wellington ones.
I think there was 3 in Wellington.
Yeah.
So
And,
it went for a while.
Yeah, but those were some nights, mate.
Such good times, eh?
Because that second X-Air in Hillcrest, where the first had the street, it was real interesting to watch you, well, to compete against you, number one, but also to see you compete against Matt Salino. Because you both had this quite explosive, really fast-paced style.
It was a tight competition, that. It was a tight. Matt was always a step above me. Like whenever I competed, like there was only a couple of people that I'd ever compete against that I was ever worried, like actually, like, fuck, am I actually going to beat these bastards? One was him, and the other one was Blake Dennis. But that was go big or go home. That gap that I did that year, that
quarter to quarter, over the quarter,
over the 2 quarters, quarter to quarter, over the up and over the big quarter. That was you know, that was I enjoyed that setup. It's one of my favorite setups to this day. They never really got it right after that until Wellington.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
They never set the box. They never set the box up with a proper roll-in or anything like that. You know, and it was a bit of a hodgepodge the way they set the courses up, but it was still a good course. You know,
it's a hard thing to do, to keep 3 different disciplines happy. But I think in terms of that, they did a good job. But it was never really ideal for rollerblading.
No.
But it's funny because you talk about competing against Salerno and going, oh well, he was always a level ahead of me. And like, I'm not just trying to stroke your ego, Hamish, but I kind of think in terms of style, like, he was quite a bit more of a robot than you.
Yeah.
And one of my questions actually was about kind of like your unique style and how you got it or where it came from, if it actually came from anywhere apart from just inside yourself.
Nah, so that was.
I can see bits of other people in it, but.
So. Yeah, so easiest way. This is. You've given me goosebumps asking me this question, bro, because it's a thank you for that. So when I first started skating, I had a very, 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 very odd style. I had a bit of a pokey bum style. And it comes down to a video that was made of our first regionals that we did. Aaron, it was Danny Ross, and I can't remember who else did it, but they made a video, and it was a comedy commentary of the whole video. Like, we actually had Chris Poi's sister skating on the vert ramp, and they were like, oh, here's Huia, stall, 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 like that type of shit. And mine was, look at him sticking his bum out, pokey. So I spent a lot of time trying to refine what I did, and everything that I did, I tried to make as smooth as possible. And I had a thing that if I couldn't hit something 10 to 20 times in a row, I hadn't had it dialed. So I spent a lot of time trying to critique that and figure out how to get around. And I didn't realize until later in life that I've got a astigmatism in one of my eyes, and that's my main eye that I use to look. So learning tricks and doing things certain ways, you know, like fish brains, for me, I can do a switch fish brain better than I can do a natural fish brain.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time just trying to refine what I was doing and try and make it as look as good as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly something that like, I didn't know whether it was something that you'd actually worked on until you just explained it, but there's definitely like you're very deliberate in what you do. And like, I noticed that whenever you do a topside trick, you're really topside, like you're never far side or rolling. It was always, you know what I mean? Like there was always like a real deliberate effort to make the tricks look a certain way. And a lot of people I don't think a lot of people were really putting that much effort into having that sort of, like, I hate to use the word flair, but you kind of had a little bit of a way you tweaked a lot of tricks. I remember watching you invert, and I was like, that came from Bentley. Yeah, but that was about it.
But that's going back is watching Bentley ride. If you want to watch someone skate smoother than Bentley, watch Ben Myers. Like Ben Myers would skate with such a smoothness to him. There's a clip actually in the section of that, it's either Yellow Brick Road or VG that he's in, and he does this gorgeous in-spin alley-oop 270 backside fucking Royale on a vert ramp, bro, and it's butter.
Yeah.
And,
together.
For me, that's like, I always try to emulate the smoothness of those guys that skated, because
I think I even noticed it, and it's funny that you say 270 backside Royale, because I remember him always doing that trick on Abbott's. But there was even little things like the way that you turn 180 onto the coping to set up for the other side. You know, like just the little things like that you could notice that came from somewhere or were done really deliberately. So that's something I always notice, and kind of
that's dead air. That's the mini ramps. That's Chris Edwards' mini ramp section in dead air. If you go back and you watch him, he's skating at the OG YMCA mini ramp spine, and he does these disasters and these 360 disasters, and the way that he sets up is it's just that. Try not to make it look like a store, bro. Like, I'm not skating I'm skating for my enjoyment, but at the same time, I want to make it look like it looks. Like, if I'm going to do a stall and it's going to be in a video, I'm going to make that stall look good enough for someone to be like, oh, well, fuck, that looks stylish.
It's not just filler. Yeah.
That's right. Fillers. Fillers. No thanks.
The other thing that I think a lot of people noticed as well is you never, like, you're really good at saving yourself from crashes. I noticed. If you were skating a ramp and you missed a trick, somehow you would end up back on your wheels and able to set up for the next thing. So
Matt Teepa beat throwing us around for a couple of years in Christchurch, mate, because it really, like, I pre-90s, I was pretty good at saving myself, but it wasn't until we started doing a bit more martial art work and having that stability within your core strength to actually learn that. And that's, if you look at the later stuff of mine from say 99 onwards, when I started writing for Solomon and Deshi, the skating style was a little bit more, not reserved, but a little bit more controlled. And it took a while to learn that. And that just comes with practice. That came with playing roller hockey, because people forget, I played roller hockey for 16 years.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a huge part. And like Ben said with one of his things, it wasn't just about, I played roller hockey. I actually played roller hockey before I actually started really street skating. Not street skating, but competitive skating. Because we used to have Friday pickups down in Wellington. But that also helped translate. Also did speed skating, you know, and I did speed skating for power. I did hockey for control, and I did street skating because that's what I really truly enjoyed. But at one stage, probably between 1994, or let's say 95 and 99, I was probably skating 40 hours a week, like street skating, and probably training 20 to 25 hours a week roller hockey. You know, and then playing games on the weekends and skating on the weekends, you know. So I skating was life for a solid decade of my life. It was all I did. I dreamt it, I lived it, I slept it. That's all I did. Other than smoking weed and drinking beer with the boys.
I always remember around those kind of eras, there was like a 3-year period where I guess the three of us were always 1, 2, and 3, and Hamish, you were always 1.
Yeah.
In a lot of those nationals events and regional comps and stuff for a long time. So I guess like Kevin had his Tim, you were our Tim to a certain extent. We were trying to compete with you and keep up with you. And it was really random. I remember I'd finished skating for Rollerblade and I started skating for Rosie's, and we were all at Aaron Taylor's house drinking, and you'd fucked off to go do something. And Aaron just, I remember it's not really a question, but he just turned and said to me, he goes, Liam, you know your problem? I'm like, what? And he goes, you need to skate like Hamish. I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, Hamish skates like he's going to land everything he fucking tries. And so I literally picked that lesson up. I don't know, I was drunk and I was stoned, but I picked that lesson up and I've applied it to life.
Yep.
How did you apply that to your skating? Because you always skated fast. You never hesitated.
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
I just thought I was better than all you motherfuckers. That was half my ego back then. Was like, now I'm a little bit like, as you've got to know me in older age, I've become a little bit more reserved. I had an ego back then. I was literally, I thought I was the shit. Like, I was New Zealand's #1. I haven't been beaten in years, and all I wanted to do was just carry on doing that.
Yeah.
And alcohol helped. Like most of the comps, 99 onwards, bro, I was boozed and fucking cut it, most of them, if I won them. And that's what I was saying, goes back to 97 was the alcohol issue. You know, I had a addiction issue that raged through skating. And I could have, to be honest, if I didn't smoke weed and I didn't drink alcohol, I possibly would have been a hell of a lot better skater.
Yeah.
You know, but I know a couple of other people that can attest to that, who've had it happen to them as well.
Yeah.
You know, where's Josh go?
Oh, he dropped out for a second. No, but I just found it really, really interesting. And like I said, I've applied that to life. And actually, that same sort of methodology applies to life really, really well.
Aaron Taylor himself had you know, even though I never rode for Rollerblade, he made me jump that van, You know that.
Did he?
I had to jump that van one day. We did a demo. They came down and did a demo. I was riding for Solomon, and they did a demo in Wellington. In Christchurch at Smith Cities. And I wasn't going to let anybody fucking show me up. I flipped that van. Flipped that van to flat, bro. Fucking lucky I was on the Solomons, because that thing just ruined your fucking heels, mate.
Yeah.
You know? I'm surprised you haven't brought up the gap.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
But speaking in Christchurch, like, when did you relocate? Because you obviously went from Melbourne, you came back to Auckland.
Yeah, 99. So 99, I relocated to late 99. I relocated down there. And probably one of the best moves skating wise I ever did, because you know they had probably back then they had probably one of the most solidest skate crews. They were doing really, really well. They had a lot going on with, and Rick was down there, and Rick has always been a really good friend of mine. You know, so I moved down there late 99 and ended up working for Cheapskates down there. You know, out of everyone that's worked for Cheapskates, I've probably worked at more Cheapskate stores than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, I worked a bit in Wellington, worked a bit in Hamilton, worked Christchurch, Auckland, 3 stores in Auckland. So yeah, it was, you know, part of that family as well, you know.
So that kind of Christchurch scene was quite good. Like they had their own. There was a magazine at a time, and then
so the magazine, So the magazine was specifically made so that our Cheapskate sponsored riders would get paid, because we had a contract stipulating that if we got half-page spreads, full-page spreads, or anything like that, we'd get paid. So Carlos and Timsy thought it would be a really good idea to start the magazine so we could all start getting paid.
And it was at the magazine that the infamous back tattoo with the Solomon tramp stamp?
No. That appeared in the first ever magazine that it appeared in was in Brass magazine, the back page of Brass magazine, because I had the full 2-page spread interview with Tony Hawk in it from X Games, X-Air.
So what was Brass magazine?
Oh, one of those male magazines.
Yeah, it's like a men's interest thing, eh?
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the other men's magazines.
Well, it was a borderline porno / fucking car mag.
Oh yeah.
You know, one of those new age magazines that.
I think FHM or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did it. One year I managed to get to do an interview with Tony Hawk. And we got a 2-page spread, and I think I spent the whole time asking questions about why he doesn't write for rollerblading.
Oh, so you actually asked Tony Hawk the questions?
Yeah, I actually interviewed Tony Hawk. Yeah.
So that was when he came here, because he got a $1 million appearance fee to come to an XR.
That was the XR. That was the first XR with the first Red Bull ramp.
Yeah, and that was that was an XR, I think.
That was one of the Claudelands ones.
Yeah, and I think Mark declared bankruptcy after that one. That he lost quite a bit of money off that event.
Yeah, and then it was back the year after.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's what you do as a company. Closed down, but Mark was a good dude. I'm just glad that XE is back.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's back, but it's not really back, is it, for us?
Well, look, the problem about rollerblading in the state it is at the moment is that we're our own worst enemies. So you've got half of us that have the mentality of the OG boys of let's fucking just keep the bangers up and keep the sport actually looking good. And then you've got the rest of them, I'm going to be controversial here, that are a little bit too woke for their own fucking good. And that
can you be more specific about what you think they are doing that's not helpful, though? Is that too blunt? Because to me, like, I feel like you can give your own explanation, but I don't think there's any value in pointing a finger at anyone when everyone's just having fun anyway. And that's not the same as people contributing to it falling apart. Is that fair?
Well, no, because you look at Nitro World Games, right? A little while ago, it was the first time we were going to be on a proper stage, do it with a proper big air competition, the first proper big air competition or first international stage competition we were going to be in since X Games. Yeah. And we were removed from it because of the negativity within the inline community on them being hosted at Nitro World Games.
So do you know the backstory, though, about what the inclusion of rollerblading in this current XR? Because I got talking to one of the organisers, and he said he reached out to a couple of rollerbladers, and they said, "Nah, don't bother."
Who are you talking to?
The same guy that you were talking to.
Yeah. So Steve said exactly the same thing as me to me as you, but I also stated to him that the caliber of skating in New Zealand is not at a level that is able to do a demo at a stature that would be well enough of what we used to be at 10 years ago. And he agreed. And there was an ability to do a demo, but we just didn't have the time, didn't have the capacity to be able to do it.
I kind of, to a certain extent, Hamish, I actually disagree with that, because I consume a shitload of media.
You do a lot more than I do. Yeah.
Well, not produce, but I consume. So I watch, even though I can't and I'm not allowed to skate anymore, I watch a shitload of it. And actually, I do think there are certain skaters that can still hang and could actually still hang and represent pretty bloody well. Like I talk about Gibby being my favourite skater, but
I'm talking.
He's phenomenal. And I reckon there's at least 15 guys.
Yeah. I'd say probably 5 to 10 that could still hang on a proper basis, and actually in a demo environment we're talking about in front of a lot of people is a lot different than just having a small little comp and doing those bits and pieces. So you got to take in like Gibby and the OG boys that we know from our tour group and stuff like that. No issues with those guys. Those guys can hold it down and they'll be able to show up and bang shit out properly. But there's a few other people that I don't know could. And that's just me being me. I've been around for a long period and I watch a lot of stuff myself. But I'm at a retail store and all I do all day is watch videos. So I consume a lot of media, but not a lot like that. But they're going to do it. It's not an if but or it's they're going to do it most likely next year. and I'll be one of the first people to put my hand up to help out and organise it. So, because I've got a bit of time.
No, sweet. Oh, sorry to challenge you on that, but
no, it's all right. Mate, there's no challenging. Like I'm probably I'm pretty opinionated on skating in general. You know, a lot of people don't probably class me as a skater because I don't skate as much as everybody else. But I still own skates, and I still skate when the body allows me to skate, and that's the main thing. I'm like you, and like you've had a pretty gnarly injury that doesn't allow you to do what you love to do, and I'm in the same.
I think that when you've been around for as long as you have too, and to be fair, even me and Liam, I think that's a fairly lengthy time involved. I think you're still kind of justified in at least having a pretty solid out there opinion about what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to things like events like XR and stuff. Maybe not, you know, why it's happening or why it's not happening, but I think it's still your jurisdiction to talk about it.
Yeah, true.
I'm, by the sounds of it, I will be down there for it. So what's quite interesting is my wife works for Valvoline, and they're the prime sponsors for D1NZ.
Oh, nice.
So we're hoping to head down there and that. So Steve's already said if I want to go down, I can. So we do actually want to go down and check it out. Because I actually thought it was going to be in Napier.
No, it's
Tauranga.
It's Tauranga, yeah, in July. If there's any free tickets, Hamish, hook me up. Trying to save for Phoenix.
Mate, you just go to Phoenix, mate.
You actually mentioned really briefly your back, your incident that prevents you from skating. So do you want to tell everyone what happened to you? Because it was pretty severe.
Yeah, so back in 2003, I was skating. I was running a skate park on the shore, a scooter park that had an indoor foam pit. And it was January 3rd, 2003. I did a backflip. Or was it 2013? Backflip into a foam pit, hit the bottom of the foam pit, and shattered my spine, mate. So spent 6 weeks in hospital. Had to learn to walk, piss and shit all over again. And yeah, now the body's fucked. Like bowel and bladder don't work properly. That's why, like, every now and then I've got to be like, got to go to the toilet, because I've got to go. But my left-hand side doesn't work that well, so that plays into part of skating. But I also have what they call flaccitation of the legs, so my quads are consistently firing. So as soon as I put load on them, my whole legs just start doing this.
Yeah.
So I have consistent flight or flight in legs, so it makes it difficult to skate. So it's one of the reasons why. Also, if I take a big enough fall on my back, I could re-injure myself and not have the use of my legs. So I've got to be careful what I do. And hence, when you see me skate, I'm only skating a bowl, you know, and something small, nothing too big. And if I'm skating a street, I'm just doing a bit of a carve and something that I know that isn't going to be too detrimental to my health.
It must be really frustrating.
Oh, bro.
Because, you know, like, I think one of my questions for you was like, when do you think you peaked? Because when I think about from the time I know you, I kind of don't think you did.
I don't think I peaked either. So after I left the scene in like 2003-4, when I started DJing, my whole life switched, like the whole knife light switched. So I didn't really have a lot of time for skating, and always still wanted to skate. So I still had skates and stuff, and still did. But after I ended up with a pretty dirty drug habit, so managed to get clean. And then that's when we all got together for that first OG meet. And I'd been clean for about a year. And it wasn't too long after the OG meet that I realized that I hadn't peaked in anything, and I was actually planning on getting my shit together and fucking heading over to Feast, because I wanted to. Scotty actually said something to me that really, really triggered me wanting to compete again, and that was that I'm one of the best mini ramp skaters he'd ever seen. And I just wanted to go over there and do him proud and do the rest of us proud and compete. And then I fucked my back, and that all fucking put a nail in that coffin.
That you mentioned that OG, and I was even talking to Van about it when I was trying to find some promo footage. I went back looking at some of the OG clips, and actually you were skating pretty fucking well then. And even tricks that I can't remember you saying, like in the promo, you do your switch Elliott fish to topsoul.
Yep.
Your 270 Sav. Can't remember seeing you do that back in the day. And even just, you didn't land it in the promo, but that reverse stale 540 is just classic Hamish.
Well, it's like that. There's a couple of photos that Carlos got of that OG meet at Barry Curtis. So we were skating that with the donut bowl and that flat to taco to flat to corner.
You were topsoiling the whole thing, dropping up
around and around all both corners, and I've still got that photo that he did, and that's still one of my favorite photos to this day. It's like, but Carlos always managed to capture that speciality with my skating for some unknown reason. He's got a lot of old photos and a lot of old footage, like a lot. So yeah, give me 2 minutes. Can I go toilet again?
Yep.
Gotta go. Give me stop recording.
It's going pretty well, Josh.
Next time he goes to the toilet, should we get him to take his phone with him? So he can watch?
I'll pause it. I haven't paused it yet. Shit, I'll do it now.
I got a beer.
So this is a bit random, Hamish, but from an outside perspective, there's always been a bit of animosity between you and Aaron. Almost like a two brothers that don't get on. Do you want to kind of explain a bit about how what your and Aaron relationship is like, and then also how you guys are related now?
Oh fuck yeah! So we've always been brothers from another mother, me and Aaron. Like I've got untold love for that guy, and he's got untold love for me. But we've always been, I think we're each other's worst enemies, to be honest, when it comes to it. But no, it's I don't know what it was, but I don't know whether he was ever. It's hard to put it. It's nothing I can really say in regards.
There's no
to
one
that.
trigger.
No, there's no one trigger. It's just Aaron Taylor.
Was one of the triggers though when did he blow a blow dart into your ankle while you're skating airboats?
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
That was me and Bubsy, and I'm sorry. I feel like I should apologize for that day.
Hey, it's all right, mate. We got you and Bubsy back many a times with the amount of times we fucking pelt you through with alcohol and shit, bro.
I know.
Especially the time Bubsy in the bath. That's it. But you guys got to realize, I might have been like, whenever we were around Scotty and Nat Joss and them, you guys need to understand, I was one of you guys.
Yeah.
You guys might have thought I was in that clique with them, but I was always sort of on the outside as well. That's how I always felt. Yeah, because it was always Ben. Ben Myers was always Scotty's sidekick, back in those days, more than I ever was. I was more Tasha's sidekick than anything else,
But but a lot of us didn't know those sort of minutiae of like relationship details. So it was kind of open slather for us.
Yeah. Oh mate, it was, look, bro, it's like the gap at I know you're gonna bring it up, but the gap at the fucking Polytech. That was all
I still don't believe you've landed that too. That thing is inhuman.
So technically haven't landed it, but I'm the only one to fucking roll away from it. Like I've actually landed it, rolled away on like full scuttle, scuttle, and then get like 3 meters out and kick my feet out because my fucking feet just hurt from it. But that was done for a bottle of fucking Brady's dad's homebrew.
Yeah, that thing was massive too. I remember when I got told that it happened, and I couldn't remember the gap, and then I skated to the Polytech one day to look at it, and I think I remember going to it and going, "This can't be it. This is not it."
Possible.
You do know there's photos of it, the way.
Yeah, I heard there was, but
Jess has photos of it.
That thing was like a story.
You have to go and do it again to prove it,
mate. My back and my knees, my back, my neck, my butt crack, and my knees wouldn't fucking survive it, bro. To this day, I'd like to go and look at it. Yeah, and be like,
it's pretty overgrown. It's pretty overgrown now, from what I understand. And last time I went to go see it, but that was like I'm sure that was at least a story and a half high, and a good 15 meter to clear the garden.
Well, it's literally, you had to come in over the bridge.
Yeah.
You know, you literally had, and we were doing it in big wheels in those days. Or actually, no, anti-rocket.
Yeah, I've seen some big gaps, but that was pretty big. The other really big one was the big flat down. It's across the road from Sky City in Auckland. Do you remember that?
Was that the AA Centre?
It was undercover.
AA Centre, yeah.
Yeah, the AA. Yep.
Did you do that, Hamish?
Yeah, when I did it.
Holy shit! Because Danny did the Disaster to Soul. I remember that. But shit.
Yeah,
that thing was probably. I kind of feel like that thing wasn't too much smaller than the one at the Polytech.
That was huge.
They're both scary.
I've done some dumb things in my time, bro, that I'm surprised I walk away from.
Yeah.
I remember us doing trying to one each other up at that little. It was a small double set. Like I'm sure it was a 7 7 at the art gallery in Auckland.
Yeah, and then Josh Clark was there.
And like we were trying to fakey 7 it and fakey 5 it.
Well, he chucked a 5 and I cork 5'd it.
Yeah, and I switched 360'd it and then that was 5'd it.
And who tried to grind it? Who tried to grind the ledge out?
The ledge, I don't know.
Was that Nui? I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it might have been Nui. Someone tried to grind the ledge out and fucking ended up in the pond.
Okay,
it's gone now, which is such a shame because that was such a cool double set to try to learn shit on.
Yeah.
So you're on screen now, and you're kind of on a stage, and you can say whatever you want. So you better talk about your relationship with Tim. If there's anything that you want to say, or there's anything that you feel needs to be cleared up, or
Oh no. We're look, me and Tim. Funny enough, the most uncanny relationship I've ever come out of skating is with Tim. Like he's become. We were never close as kids, as children. We were always at each other's throats, and we always had shit to say. It's like one day I'm going to piss on you, though, cunt. By my language. But no, I've got even what's in the past is in the past. I don't give a fuck about what's happened, bro, anymore. I really don't. It's just happened. But I've got a lot of time for that cat now. I've got a lot of respect for him. And it's like I'm glad his hands are fucking working now.
Well, retrospectively, it was all fun and games,
Mate, look, hey, but hey, that shit that happened in Napier, I fucking deserved, mate. If I was in somebody else's shoes and they were doing it, I would have done the same thing, mate.
I'm speaking from a perspective of someone who's a dad now, but I'm not down with bullying, and I think there was an element of that there. I'm not going to speak too much on it because I don't want to cause controversy myself.
Look, there's no controversy there. All you motherfuckers, let's be honest, bullied me for a fucking long time. And the only reason why you bullied me is because I was a better skater than you lot. But at the end of the day, with that territory, and that's something that we've learned, is the better that somebody is at something, the more bullying they're going to get. That
might come across as arrogant, but you can't really argue with it. So I got you back on that one, Hamish.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, I was a great skater. Yes, it went to my head at some stages, and with the alcohol and stuff that I used to consume at certain points in time, made me a complete another asshole. But that's something I've learned over time to actually realize and be like, yeah, look, I probably wasn't the best person at the best part of times, but at the end of the day, I still am who I am, and I did what I did.
Yeah, and also I think it's important to add that the personalities like yours and other people, whether you can call people bullies if you want, or all of those kind of little all of those little relationships, they're kind of made for an interesting scene anyway. So
I just put it like this: the only reason why anybody doesn't like you or the way that you skate is because they're jealous of the way that you skate, and that's just really, when it comes to psychology, really deep down, there's a couple of reasons why people don't like you. One is because they just don't like you because you clash, or the other reason is they don't like something that you're better than them at. and that's just the way it comes down to it at the end of the day. And it comes across with social media and everything, and all of the things that we have in life today.
And age brings a certain perspective to
Yeah, it
the way
does.
that we operate,
Yep.
and all
Yep.
operate now.
And having kids,
Yeah,
especially kids who are starting to become our age, like the age that we used to do that shit at, you know. Like I easiest way to explain it is you'll find it with your daughter, bro.
Yeah.
She's a great dancer, and there's going to be people that are around her that bully her a little bit because of it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Sonia. So I can relate to it easy as, and I understand it now, and it's just something that happens as kids.
Mm.
I think we've got some photos to look at.
Yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going to share my screen, and Hamish, you're going to.
I'm just going to go to the. I'm just going to go to nature's bathroom.
Yep.
Are you okay if I bring them up and just start, Josh?
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
I love his backdrop. He's got a better backdrop than all of us.
Hold on. How do I bring this one up? I don't. Oh, I've stuffed this right up.
You have, haven't you?
I have. I'm normally more organized than this.
You're all right, bro.
So I'm going to start here, Hamish, which is a bit random. So when you Google Hamish McCrae rollerblader New Zealand,
Nothing comes up because you spelt it wrong.
I know I did spell it wrong looking at it. But are you even the real Hamish McCrae? Because there's another Hamish McCrae that's a teacher at Katura School.
No, I am the real Hamish McCrae.
You reckon you're the real Hamish McCrae?
Yeah, definitely am, because my name's spelled MCCRAE, mate.
But are you sure you're not related to him? Because he's got a bit of ginger as well and a long ginger beard.
The funny thing about the McCrae name is we all are related somewhere along the line. If we've got the name McCrae, we are related from we'll be fucking removed cousins somewhere down the line, guaranteed.
That's a lot of followers for our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, there's someone who actually has the exact same name as me on Facebook, and he's born in 1979.
Huh.
So next one's an image that you provided. I'm not sure where this is.
So this is original Cheapskates, bro. Pre the hole in the wall when they used to have. So if you have a look,
The rollerblade section, where that part is there.
yeah, there used to be a hole that used to go through to where it is. But this is probably 92, 93. This was when Tom Fry came over to New Zealand and did a demo over here. White hat closest to us down here. Yep, that's Shiloh.
Oh, true.
Yep, that's Mr. Mitchell.
It is too. I
Yep.
was looking at that. Now you say it, yeah.
Yep. Then you've got to the
Is
left
that
of him.
Rick?
No, that's Dave Porter.
Yeah.
In the checkered shirt to the right of thing is that's Tom Fry. That's me in the birth cap and the SMP shirt. Next to me is old
Alex Discom.
Yep, Discom. And then on to the right is old Kyle.
Young Kyle.
Yeah, and then the blonde haired is Justin Sweeney. So Justin Sweeney was very prominent with the Takapuna crew for rollerblading. So he is quite connected with Dave Porter, Aaron Fowles, and all of that.
Yeah.
But he's quite known in the skateboard industry because he got back into skateboarding and, gave up his roots.
All right, so we'll move
Cool
on to
photo.
the next one.
Oh, that was probably one of the first demos I did for Solomon up in Nelson. But it's one of
You
the
got
only
way
photos.
more hair there, bro.
No, that was a bunt. So yeah, bunt to fakie, and that's when I had hair.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. You're hairy.
That was a fun demo. They had a really cool little mini ramp behind it. But yeah, we just drove up for the weekend with the Cheapskates crew and did the Solomon demo. It might have even been Cheapskates demo, to be honest.
What's the logo on the ramp?
At Cheapskates down there.
Yeah, Cheapskates down there.
Yeah.
But
No,
what's
to the
that?
left. That.
Oh, God
No.
knows.
Yeah.
It
Cool.
would have been something up there. Might have been fucking smoke free logo or something stupid like that.
Pretty funny having a smoke-free logo when you're smoking a hell of a lot of dope, probably.
Oh, bro, we were it was an interesting trip.
I'll move on to
Interesting
the
trip.
next one.
Oh, so that's this is fucking
Is that only hunger?
yeah. So this would have been 93, late 93, 94. Those are oxygen skates.
Flat.
Yep, riding flat, fucking riding 76 mil Fat Boys on there. Menace pads.
Are they Red Origin shorts?
Yeah, those are my infamous Red Origin shorts, bro. They are the red. Yep, they are my shorts.
Yeah, I had the Red Origin shorts as well. My brother had the mustard.
Funny enough, you've got Tasha down there on the bottom right.
Yeah, I thought that was Tash.
Helmet.
Yeah.
Yep, and then you've got oh shit, can't remember Nick's last name, but we used to call him fucking Mad Nick because he looked like the Mad. What was the cartoon character? Not Mad Max. Or was it Mad Max? The Mad Comics. Remember Mad Comics?
Yeah.
The cartoon character on the front. Yeah, Nick. Well, Nick looked like him, and I'm pretty sure that's Dennis, the old Dennis the Menace down there getting his pads on.
It'd be good to get Tash on at some stage, because she was really influential for us in the Hamilton scene. Like took us everywhere.
This is also only hunger back in the 90s.
Yeah, because that playground wasn't there when I went there.
Yeah, the end of the pirate ship fucking playgrounds, bro.
Yeah, I know. That was a sad era, man.
Yeah. Getting rid of those fucking, OSH health and safety. But yeah, that was pretty much the start of the vert career, bro.
Cross grab rocket.
Nice. Oh, we've got another one here. Same era.
Yep, same era. Same. It would have been the same day, and that was invert. The old Japan style invert.
Oh, so we used to call that a Smith grab invert.
Yeah, or Japan Smith. Yeah, so the whole thing was from skateboarding. So we took everything from them and tried to make it on. Actually, those aren't my origin shorts. Those are actually shorts made by Tasha.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, actually, yep. And those Oxygen 3-strap skates again.
So funny now, like when you see someone do an invert, it's very, very, very rare. But back then, if you skated vert, your rite of passage was being able to do an invert. If you couldn't do an invert, you weren't a vert skater.
That's kind of
Yeah,
true.
see, the thing is though I was never strong in the shoulders, and what a lot of people don't realize is to do a good invert, you've got to be strong in the shoulders.
Yeah.
So that should be straight up. I'm off. I should be straight up. But I was young. I didn't have the power to get myself up an arc like Scotty used to do. Like,
it was also really strange too. Like I've thought about this in older years. Say I turn to the right, which is my dominant hand because I'm right-handed. But when you're inverting, you're doing it with your left hand because the way that you turn. So
see, if you could actually perfect the left hand turn invert with the right hand to the eggplant and then actually continue it around, you get your eggplant, which is really fucking hard to do on inlines. Like Jess Darrenforth used to do them gorgeously. I used to hate trying them, bro, because coming up and trying to do that opposite hand was just not right.
I'll move on to the next. So this one, I think it's got heaps of history right here, and we'll probably spend a bit of time, but this is first ever, I guess, double page spread of New Zealand skating in a Daily Bread.
Yeah. No, this was our Box magazine.
Oh, no, this was Daily Bread, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure. Oh, it was either Box or Daily. I'm pretty sure it might have been Box, but I could be wrong. But it was in one of the two. So this is very interesting because that's, as we talked about, was the year that the Senate boys came over, and that's the year I moved off skating. Bowers. I actually ended up I literally called Bill and was like, look, love you to pieces, Bill. I've got to ride. I've got to change my skates, and you can see the skates I'm wearing in there, and I'll explain those in a minute. I can't do the tricks I need to do, and I need to change. And that's when I went skateless. I didn't skate for a sponsor. I actually brought a pair of skates off Brookhoward Smith, and he had the first pair of lowrider Impalas in the country, like skates. And that bottom right hand corner, Hamish McCrae, Bones of Soul. I'd only learnt soul grinds like literally that day in those skates because I wasn't able to do them. And I switched to those and was able to do them the week before the comp. But yeah, this is the future. Like I wish Sinclair and Brady still skated. Like Sinclair's style was a cross between we called him the big bear.
Big bear, yeah.
Because he just fucking was a bear. He it wasn't anything spectacular, but the way he skated was just so fucking big and burly. And then you got Brady who could just fucking throw himself in these stupid positions.
Yeah.
And that was Rotorua skating. You know, look at if I'm correct, Scott Bentley was found skateboarding a vert ramp and was given a pair of skates by Chris Boypoy. And that's how that started, you know,
Cool.
and then to have him, Stacey, you know, what was his name? Big black guy.
Cat.
Those backflips that Cat used to do, like full pin style Cat backflips, bro. You know,
I just remember Cat gave me a bottle of Karuba, which has basically created my deep hate for Karuba and rum.
Bro, we like talking about the rum. That's what we got on the piss at that fucking skate combo. At skate visit, we went in Rotorua. We literally brought like 10 to 12 bottles of rum, and we all just got shit faced. We had to remove Ben Myers out of the tent because he was vomiting on himself.
Oh shit.
You know, like that material, you know, like people diving out of the back of the truck and hitting their head.
But going back to this page, page was, I guess, and what this comp was
where it began for us. It was where it started. You know what I mean?
So this was a major comp, I guess, in my life as well. I didn't skate it because I'd just broken my ankle like a week before.
Because you were at the comp the year before, though, weren't you?
Yeah, and so I broke my ankle a week before that. And
how'd you do it the year before?
I think I got to finals for mini and street, but I didn't skate particularly well. And just played hockey. But I remember this comp vividly because this was the first time I'd met Tim as well, and Tim and his parents took me around everything. But pretty incredible. Even looking at the photo of Emma soling the mini ramp, that's a switch sole.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a woman doing the sole.
Yeah, that's him. Like because he knew he spent like the weird thing about old Arlo is he actually really was interested in us. You know, he's an odd person, but he really took like anybody, like even Pat Parnell when Pat came out to New Zealand. You know, we had Carlos Cole come out to New Zealand, and every time they came out, they took a huge interest in our skating, especially Jess. Especially Jess. And you know, we wouldn't have a lot of the stuff if it wasn't for Jess D and everyone else who fucking, you know, who did what they did.
I just thought it was a very cool page to reminisce. Mate, even seeing Todd up there doing
Todd doing the soul grind up across the flat and down that kink rail.
Is that the old fun box from Hamilton? Yeah.
I remember showing Liam, Tim, and Emma the first disaster soul grind on that, and the first disaster backslide on that rail.
Yeah.
Just after I came back from the States.
I remember going back to that fun box rail years later when it was at the base in Tirapa, which
and
is
just
now
be like, look how small it is.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, holy moly, this thing was scary to me when I was starting.
Yep. It was even scary to me when I started. You know what I mean? Because you could crack your nuts on that if you weren't careful.
Yeah.
Mate,
I've actually got a dent in my jaw where I smashed my jaw trying to mistrial it. It was like I had some bad crashes on that.
And I've got fake front teeth now because of that. Remember, Josh, my half cab disaster top
really?
Yeah, he knocked out. Your teeth was stuck into the floor, bro.
Yeah, literally my 3 front teeth are all stuck in the hardwood concrete floor because I missed as I came down.
Do you remember my mum's little white Manster that we had?
No, I can't recall.
So Josh Lang had to sit in the passenger seat on a pillow because he cracked his tailbone on that rail from Hamilton all the way back to Auckland. Bro, we used to come down to Hamilton in that car and would have 3 in the back, 1 in the front seat, and Kyle in the boot. Every fucking time would come down.
We
Good
did similar
times,
trip
eh?
to Auckland with Joss. Next one, just kind of interesting, but I wanted to talk about the results, mainly because for Kevin Batten, he can see that Tim can be beaten. You can see there in vert, Tim
But
came
that-
third, not first. Mini ramp, he came second, and then Streety came second. He didn't win. Adam Cook beat him.
Bad day for
But
Tim,
hey,
eh?
can you see this? Can you just take a notice to look and see like Hamish McCrae, second Nick Giles, and vert mini ramp, second Nick Giles, and then the Tuvey, and then Jason Tuvey, who was so Jason Tuvey's was it his parents that owned? No, it wasn't Tuvey that owned. No, it wasn't Jason Tuvey that owned the rank over on the. No, it was the Cook family.
Yeah,
Adam
yeah,
Cook
they
that
owned
owned-
they owned the park in Tauranga.
That's right. The what? God, what a fucking shit mini ramp that was, bro.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shit park, but pretty interesting though. That Adam Cook could beat Tim.
God, oh gee, he came third. Like, but look, he was a fucking 11-9, bro.
Oh, I know, but look, Michael Farr could never beat Tim, but hey, Adam Cook could beat Tim.
So what do we got? We got Vert, fucking Sinclair bet Brady. That's weird.
Yeah.
Mini ramp Brady fucking bet fucking Richard. Shit,
Well,
he
so
bet
that-
fucking oh fuck, he bet what? Oh, he bet fucking things, bro.
We'll see that
God.
12 to 14 in
Yeah.
mini ramp. Ryan
Yeah.
Bennett was like my schoolmate growing up. And I remember I could not believe that Brady bet him on that because Ryan was doing like 720 McTwists. He was doing all sorts of crazy
Yep.
shit over the spine. And
Yep.
this is on a mini ramp, spine ramp. But
Well, you
so
remember
cool
the
that
first
two
time-
Hamilton dudes came.
You remember the
second,
first time we
third.
saw the flat spin?
Oh, I remember Ato doing. It's the first one I ever saw.
No,
Me and Josh went
Really?
To. This,
Mate,
yeah.
Scotty was doing flat spins at this competition.
No
Flat spins,
way.
flat- yeah, so this is where the rocket corked 540 came out on the launch ramp. He did a inverted rocket corked 540, which he was really well known for on the launch ramp. And it was the first time that the flat spin was ever done as well. And the
Apex
Misty.
team.
It was also the year that Rotorua got banned from playing roller hockey.
Oh, sure. We'll move on to the next one. So this is actually you out of a box magazine, which I thought was
so
pretty
this
cool.
this is Santa Monica. This one of the stops on this. That's Switch. So that was taken by Jess D, like sunset, of course. I'd actually just woken up. I'd had a migraine that whole day. Woken up after being in the booth in the sponsor booth having a sleep, and then just had a jam.
Are you pulling the fingers while you're doing it? Is that what you're
No,
doing?
it's just a fucking
Oh, horn
Yeah,
hands.
or like, or something like because it's Switch.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So
cool.
you're trying to
fun.
get yourself around. So me and Dayton, Dayton Coopersmith was the first person to really do like the proper late 360s. So he'd come up and do the half spin, and then he'd literally wait till there's like about 2 foot off the ground and spin like 270.
Yeah.
And me and him got into late 180 competitions, and the only way I could do late 180s that I thought I could do them was Switch. So this is where this comes in. But then I learned later on in life with the original Vicky Park that I could do them later by doing them tweaked naturally and just popping out late. But no, that was
Sweet. We'll move on to the next one. Sorry to race you along, Hamish.
no, you're right.
So
that is if anyone who remembers the Rollerblade how-to for how to do a topside fish brain. That was the peak. That was the peak photo from that.
with
See
your
what I
action
mean, man?
frozen.
You're like dead topside.
I didn't like sitting on things. I actually like to actually have control in that leg position, because if you can control that, you can slip out and you can pop out and you can do spin arounds or you can do whatever you want. But the moment you get into there, you can actually, once you're locked and you have that control in there, you can actually pop fakie, you can roll it around, you can do whatever you want.
That stuff is hard on your knees, though, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can strengthen your knees to deal with it nowadays.
Yeah.
I still click when I kneel though.
I remember those skates that you had on there too.
Was
And that's
another example.
same day. So that was they did the how-to for how to do an alley-oop porn star.
Have you got like a clamp on your skate there, or have you drawn Adidas stripes on there?
No, so I've got Adidas stripes drawn on there, but I also have the
Like a crank strap.
crank straps because I was
that's
sponsored
right.
by them as well.
Yeah, Abbott's.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And that was when I rode for Rosie's, of course.
Yeah, got the shirt on and everything.
Yeah, bring
What a
that.
guy.
That's like mid 90s when the ramp was blue.
Yeah.
Team player.
So this one was I remember going to see that spot at Med Centre, and I couldn't believe how high that thing was. Like that wasn't easy. And so that was a photo out of Daily Bread.
Yep. So again, no, that's a switch late 180 reverse dale. So as you can see, it looks like I've just jumped over, but I'm actually going to revert out and come fakey out of that.
Are you spinning to your right or are you spinning to your left?
Hold on. I need to. Yeah, so I'm going to drop down back to my right shoulder down. So yeah, so it's a reverse. So it's switch for me.
But yeah, jumping into that bank is pretty.
Yeah.
And over that block, I remember it was at least waist high.
Yeah, that's the thing that Jess liked about me was when I did my stales, I pushed my stales out. I actually grabbed the back of my skate with the bottom of my heel, bottom of my palm, and just pushed them out. If I fell, I would readjust and get it sorted. But that was a really fun skate session with Jess, and I love my hat because it says I hate my job.
Yeah.
Harbinger gloves, eh?
Yeah, Harbinger gloves. Like,
I thought if you had
original
Harbinger
M12s.
gloves back then, like if you had Harbingers, I was like, you've made it.
Yeah.
That would have been 96, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that magazine at Ben's at the Cave. I remember when
Yeah,
that
was
came out.
that was
I was like,
photo issue.
Hamish is in it. Yeah.
That was the big. It might have been 97, but it was a big photo issue they did.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, we're gonna have to race through a few of these because we're running at a bit of time.
No, you're right.
I just thought this was kind of a fairly iconic Hamish shot.
Totally.
This is when you
man.
when you just started getting back into skating, I guess.
Yep.
But have you got a ciggy in your mouth?
Yep, I do, mate.
Yeah, you
I
do.
have a
Yeah, I
ciggy in
noticed
my
that
mouth.
too.
Yep. I
That's a
do.
sick photo, though, eh?
Haven't smoked in fucking 6 years. But yeah, no, that's still one of my favorite photos. That was taken by an OG skateboarder who used to really enjoy my skating, and he'd like hit me up like, I'm going to be down at the park with my son, come down and get some photos of you. So there's a couple of those. There's another invert one that he has of me on that.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It was a bit
But
blurry.
I love that new part of Vicky just for carving. It's stunning.
That's not an easy pocket to air out of, though.
I love those skates. Those are the OS 4s, I think they were. Running the stock liners. Those stock liners are amazing.
I like that grab too, the inside of your skate.
Yeah.
Yep. The tweak,
It's
knee tucked.
That was the Scott grab, I remember.
Yeah,
Mine
so
is,
He used to grab the
is,
inside
yep,
of his skate.
yep. And that's indicative of Scott. It's just I just like being the whole tweak of like actually tweaking getting the knees together and peeling them out and then getting that foot kicked out like you're almost doing a ninja cut. And then like you imagine when we were in the 80s and we used to do flying ninja kicks.
Yeah.
That's I love that.
Mm.
That's probably one of my favorite photos as well, except for the cigarette.
The cigarette's good. I like that. It's
Cigarette's
great.
gangster. We'll move on to
I'm not endorsing smoking, but it's kind of classic you.
There we go. That's the photo that we were talking about before.
Yeah, so that was at that Barry Curtis OG meet. And you're right, there's a massive quarter to the right. And it's not an easy thing to topsoil because actually the concrete here on this one is actually
rough as guts.
It's rough as guts. Well, it's not now because Tim's grinded it all back and made it nice, but the concrete used to be higher than the coping.
Yeah.
Because I remember trying to do some fishies and I fishies on it, and it was actually so hard. You really had to be in the transition to get around it.
Yeah.
That's why your front foot's so far over, I guess.
Yeah,
And
Hamish
I,
boning a soul.
managed to get right around all the way to the flat part below us.
That's right.
on
Yeah, I
that.
think remember you and Johnny were the only ones kind of skating that.
Oh,
And skating
fucking-
with speed.
Can we just we'll carry on because I want to touch base on Johnny in a minute. Oh shit.
I know there's a bit of a story to this because Tim was actually.
There's a huge story to this. So you remember you would have remembered when Tim disappeared. He went on his walkabout.
Yeah, we went on a walkabout trying to walk across country.
You remember nobody was able to find him for like the last month. He hadn't been in contact with anybody. Everyone's like, where the fuck's Tim? I hadn't seen my dad for almost 20 years, maybe even longer. And we had been on this big trip and we ended up in Paihia. And we're just sitting at this fucking pub and out the corner of my eye, I see fucking Tim. I'm like, oh, fuck, come and hang out. And this is technically where the whole rekindled friendship carried on. I had a fucking mean as toothache. I was fucked up. I got Tim drunk as fuck. We brought him back to the hotel where we were. We went back to where he was. Got what he needed. Got some more beer. Went back to the hotel we were staying at. I had a couple of beers. Rolled a big fat joint. Smoked the joint. Left them the weed and that. And I went, fuck you guys. I'm going to bed. Left him with my wife and my dad. He's probably spent more time with my dad than I had in the last fucking 30 years. But he was on his walkabout. And ever since then, we've just had this like uncanny catch up. And my wife loves him. So my daughter loves him. And I've got infinite time for that fucker. Even though he can be a difficult prick sometimes.
He's definitely a good human.
Oh, he is. He's an amazing human. Good's an understatement.
So he meant well all along.
Oh, he did. Look, at the end of the day, look, a lot of the stuff that I did back in the day, I brought on myself. I really fucking did. A lot of it could have, like, in hindsight, I've had worse shit done to me with other people, but it just made me who I am. Just made me a little bit more humbler later on in life, and allowed me to understand that that's the biggest part of my life, and it's not something that I can just give away easily. Like even after the accident, when the doctor said you'll never skate again, I was like, "No, I'm going to prove you wrong, motherfucker." And I can't skate to the ability that I once could, but I can still do a fucking soul grind, and I can still do a switch soul grind better than most people. So hey, I'm fucking happy.
It's almost a good. It's almost a good closing statement.
It is a good closing statement. We haven't even got to your shout outs yet.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that now. Now's your chance to say anything that you haven't already said.
And then we'll call the next guest while you're on the line.
All right, so might be a long one. So a couple of people, the first shout out that needs to go to anybody is my mum. You know, yeah, Lil, yeah, that lady. For most of you motherfuckers, wouldn't have had a ride, wouldn't have had a fucking lift, wouldn't have done a lot. And I've got a story for that, which I'm going to tell at the end of this because it's a funny story. But definitely mum. Mum played a huge part in not only just my skating and my hockey, but also with keeping me funded with certain parts of skating and stuff like that, which was really good at a young age and allowing me to do what I needed to do. Next on the line is definitely Scotty. You know, Mr. Scott fucking Bentley. I love you to pieces. You know, you're someone that I will cherish all my life. You helped me out when I was in some of the lowest points of my life when I was in skating, especially when I was a young kid stuck in the States. Tasha, love you to pieces. And Danny, love you to pieces. You guys were instrumental with me in skating.
Danny Ross, not Danny.
Yeah.
Jensen.
Yeah, Danny Ross. Yeah, not Danny Ross. You know, Chris Poi took you long enough to sponsor me. Should have sponsored me first instead of Ben. You know, we'll get there already.
He also spelled my name right.
Yeah, Shiloh, fucking love everything that you did for our sport. You know, a lot of us with Poi wouldn't have what we have without you guys. Mark from XAir, thank you for what we had. Who else? The Fowles brothers for being fucking great skaters and just pushing everybody here in Auckland. All of the rinks, Noel and Barbara. Because if we didn't have Noel and Barbara, we wouldn't have Roller Force. So thank you to them.
Repeat were needed too.
Thank you to Danny Jensen, being the first person to actually beat me in a competition and actually take fucking the rain off my shoulders for once in my life. Without you, I wouldn't have been wouldn't have been able to relax and actually be like, sweet, we've got new people coming through. And especially Tim, because you were one of those people as well. Yeah, you guys for what you're doing. Thank you for having me on board. Ben Horgan, being a big part of my life, being a good skater. And Aaron Taylor. Oh, yes, because that's something we didn't tell you. You asked me about how we're related. So I married, my wife is related to Aaron Taylor's other side of the family. So Aaron's my cousin. So we're now family.
That's special.
Yeah, it is. It is. But look, and my wife, my child, they're two people who have really humbled me in my life. A really good friend of mine, Gopal, that none of you guys actually know. But he's been a really big part of my life over the last 20 years. So, and to him, thank you very much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more out there, like everybody else that I've mentioned who's been part of my life throughout the podcast. Thank you. You've all been a part of it. You've all made me either a better or worse person. Always a better person.
That's good. Okay, well, look, on that note, we might call our next guest so we do our typical lineup.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Sweet. I've just changed headphones. Let's see if this works because we're calling an international number.
Hello, it's Heather.
Hey Heather, how are you? It's Liam. How's it going?
Liam, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. So you're actually on air, I guess, at the moment with Joss and Hamish.
Hey, Heather.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Hamish.
Hey there. How are you?
Oh, Auntie Heather.
I'm doing all right for a cold Melbourne winter. I'm doing all right.
Nice. Oh, look, we just wanted to call and just see whether or not you wanted to be our next guest on the Shodcast after Hamish.
Oh, I appreciate that invitation. Hamish is going to be a hard act to follow, but yeah, I'd be honoured.
Oh, you'll be our first lady.
Might be your only lady.
Lady. Oh my God. Have you been saving that up?
No, that's actually now, Josh.
Lady.
Yeah, that's a word now. It's in the dictionary.
Yeah. But yeah, really looking forward to hearing your story. You've got a super interesting story, and you've been able to transition to a complete other country and basically dominate, and also compete in men's divisions in Australia, which is so rad.
Still stoked that you're ripping it, Heather.
The Auckland beginnings to the Melbourne endings. Yeah. I'll happily meander about it all.
Nice. Okay, well, look, me and Joss will confer about a good time, and we'll try to avoid, you said you've got a big orchestra competition next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend's not so great. I'll be preoccupied.
Nice. Cool.
Right. It'll be good to talk to you, Heather. We'll look forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to it too. Talk to you later.
Awesome.
Cheers,
Heather.
guys.
See ya.
Okay, thanks, man.
Bye.
I've got one story for you before you go.
Okay.
Please
It
do.
involves Brooke Howard Smith and my mum. Oh, I know Kyle.
Oh, it sounds really dodgy.
Oh, it's quite interesting. So it would have been one of the first times Brooke came back to New Zealand after being in the States, and we did a big street fucking hookup in Auckland, and we did all of the different spots, and we ended up outside the old Vodafone Bell South Tower in Pitt Street. And Mum's going to hate me for this. Kyle comes up and he's got this bag of weed, and he's like, "Look what I just found! Found this bag of weed." And Brooks like takes it off him. He's like, this shit's fucking bad for you. You don't want to do it when you rollerblade. Just throws it away. My mum's like, I'm going home. I went home later on, and fucking mum's asleep, and she found the bag of weed.
Oh, classic.
Yeah,
Nice.
so like mum, and the hard thing is like mum was just actually in hospital last night, so this is one of the
sorry
reasons
about
why I'm a
that.
little bit more no, she's all right, but that lady, a lot of people don't realize, I know you guys do, but a lot of people don't realize how much of an influence she had on Auckland, not just Auckland rollerblading, but also hockey, because she was part of Mount Wellington Panthers for 10 years. She was part of, the national body for roller hockey for many years. She was part of the reasons I got home from Napier when I got fucking left in Napier that year, because they were in fucking Wanganui at the roller hockey tournament. So, that lady has been a big part of our life and rollerblading life. And I just want to dedicate the whole shout out and the whole Shodcast to my mum, because without her, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be the skater I was without her.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I hope your mum gets better. And
Oh no, she's all right. She's home. That's why I said to you, it's like been fun 24 hours. Like I literally picked her up from the hospital and dropped her off at home.
Yeah.
But no, she's all right. She's she's getting on in life, but she's still there.
oh, good.
And that's the main thing. She gives her love to everybody. She actually said, make sure you say hello to everybody. So hello to all the rollerbladers from mum that know her.
Hello.
And, yeah.
Hello.
But hey, Joss, you need to come up to Auckland, or I need to come down and see you, because it'd be good to catch up over a couple of
We
beers.
need it. Well, yeah, quite a few of the other episodes we've talked about. We need to do another OG or another just a big meetup in general.
Yeah.
I think where it happens, I don't know, but it'd be good for it to be somewhere local so that as many people can be there as possible.
Well, look, the wife's always keen for us if we can get a big marquee out the back to the house, so we can set up the backyard and get as many people over as we need to after a jam. Got plenty of parking, so there's no issue here, mate. More
Cool.
than happy to set something up, eh? I'll talk to Liam about it later on, and we'll try and get something for early summer.
Awesome.
Hi, boys. But hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Humbling experience, and
No worries. Thanks
I
for
look
coming
forward to
on,
more of
Jack.
these, eh? Got to make sure you get fucking Shiloh and Chris, eh?
Yeah, they're on the list.
I know
We've-
they are.
yeah, sort of. Yeah.
I know the list. I know you guys are doing what you guys got to do at the moment, and I appreciate being in the first top 10. So thank you for having me.
Cool, bro. Thanks for doing it. It's been real good to talk to you and find out some stuff that even we didn't know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more, but there's a lot more that ain't camera ready. My voice. But
Nice.
take care. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, eh?
No
Right.
worries. Cheers, Hamish. Thank you.
Right,
Right.
take boys, eh? Be safe, eh?
see you, bro.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Parents are very strict. Where you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?